Good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the Bundesliga Show. We are here for Match Week 10 review. Looking forward to getting stuck into this one. Joined, as ever, by Mark in Nuremberg. Mark, how you doing? How's your weekend been?
Servus, yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, just kind of getting used to the autumn and everything, isn't it? Like the weather's changed quite a lot recently, but yeah, a lot of football watch this weekend. Not been to any games, unfortunately, this time, which is a pity. But yeah, definitely got some games on the horizon in December and things like that. So yeah, looking forward to that. And obviously the last weekend before the latest international break, this one, wasn't it?
Yeah. International breaks on us again. The last one, at least, though, until, March, the next one. So we've got a good run. Obviously, we've got the international, we've got the winter break to come as well. But yeah, we'll have a straight shot for a little while now, which is lovely. Lots of football watched for me. Got in a bit of ruggers as well. Love my ruggers. Autumn internationals are great. 4 weeks of pure rugby on the box, which is perfect because it's saving my weekend this weekend because there's loads of rugby on. There's no football on, so perfect.
That's true. I was just glad to see Wales lose again, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's almost becoming like a running joke, isn't it, about Wales these days? What is that, like 19 losses in 20 games or something now?
Yeah, I think so.
It's unbelievable.
Well, we apologise to any Wales fans out there, but as English natives, happen to be enjoying a bit of Welsh misery right now. I'm sure it will come good, but yeah, Welsh rugby fans clearly not in a great spot. Anyway, we're here to talk footy, not ruggers. So we've got packed show for you. Some great games over Match Week 10 to review, and some big head coach sacking news, which we'll start off with this evening as well. So sit back and enjoy it along with us. Make sure you like this video if you can do. Comment if you're watching live. Let us know your thoughts on the big key moments from this weekend, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep supporting us all the way through the international break. We'll try and get some of our vlogs out during the international break as well as an extra treat for you all, only if you subscribe though. And make sure you check out our two fantastic partners, which are indeed Covert Football Trips. Obviously, exactly what they do is taking you guys out there to do some fantastic European football adventures, particularly across the Bundesliga or the Bundesrepublik. Some great trips on there to check out, and also check out Bully News for all their excellent work and articles on German football in English. Long reads, previews, reviews, fantasy football, the lot. Check them out as well. The big, head coach news. We're going to start with Mark, and we'll, kind of go back to this when we talk about the game a bit later on. Is Simonis has been relieved of his duties by VfL Wolfsburg, and the rumours started to circulate around about midday-ish on Sunday afternoon, and it was confirmed later on by the club that he'd been relieved of his duties after a miserable run of form. I think six defeats in 7 games, and that the VfL, the Wolves have had enough. They have bitten poor old Simonis, and he's gone. Now he's been moved on. Initial reactions to this, Mark. I think we've been calling it, we've been hinting at it. Well, everyone has, that follows the Bundesliga. But it's happened, and I think, another inevitable one, sadly, for the Dutchman.
Yeah, I think it's quite a funny one because both Peter and I tipped him to be pretty much exactly what's happened in this case on our new managers in the Bundesliga show in, was it August we did that? Yeah, or it could even have been July we did that. But we both tipped Simonis to be the one that did the worst of the lot. As it happened, he wasn't the one that did the worst of the lot because Erik ten Hag was. But let's be honest, it's another Dutchman hooked from his role in pretty, unimpressive circumstances. He only had 12 competitive matches, only 3 wins out of those. One of them was against like a much lower league side in the Pokal first round as well. In the league, it was only 2 wins from 10, with a couple of draws in there as well. Obviously losing at home against Kiel in the cup as well, which was just not acceptable basically for this squad. Yeah, it's been another failed manager from the VfL, hadn't it? What can you say? I mean, he just never managed. The best it really got for him was that win against Heidenheim, wasn't it? The 3-1 win, which, let's be honest, they weren't amazing in that game, but they beat the bottom-ranked side, in that one. It was a good fixture to start with, I guess, in many ways. But after that, it just never got away, did it? And the fact that they didn't win a single home game in his tenure as well was definitely a big factor. 5 games without a win at home. Most of them, I think 4 of them were defeats as well. Just a side that simply can't win games at home, can they, anymore? They've lost the ability to win games at the Volkswagen Arena. The style of play just wasn't there. It was mixed matched here, there, and everywhere. Basically, there were issues with the starting lineup. I mean, Amur has been in and out of the team. Jonas Wind has been in and out of the team. Even Sainter, who got off to a really good start, the young left back that signed from Paderborn, he's been in and out of the team. Then he brought Christian Eriksen in, and he looked to do well, but it's just not been enough, has it? And yeah, while he deserves criticism, I think, for his performance, I still feel as though it's not really been that much different to what we've seen the last 3 or 4 seasons, to be honest, from Wolfsburg in many ways. It's very, very in and out. It's not that they've been absolutely woeful under Simonis. It's not like they've been losing 4-0 every week. It's been mostly 1-goal losses. But they don't win games. It's as simple as that. And this has been a trend for years now, probably since the Glasner days. I think, Rory, the first season we covered, Wolfsburg got 4th, didn't they? Do you remember that year? And they got in the Champions League under Glasner. And since then, it's just been nothing but garbage, really, from them in many cases. I think they had 1 year under Kovac when they almost got Conference League. But aside from that, it's been lower mid-table the other 3 seasons. And this season looks pretty much like it's going to be the same. Obviously, Peter Christiansen is going to look to try and bring in someone perhaps a little bit more high profile. Obviously, they were linked with a Danish coach as well for a long time. So maybe Bo Svensson is going to be quite high up on the list there potentially for Wolfsburg. He was linked in summer as well before they decided to go for Simonis. But yeah, it's just same old same, really, for Wolfsburg, isn't it? They're once again down in that lower mid-table kind of reaches of the league. They're probably not going to go down because, if worse comes to worse and they do find themselves in that position by January, they can just go and spend a load of cash, basically, to get themselves out of it. It's not looking good for the club, though. The whole club is just as stale as an old piece of bread, basically, at that club. It's like things... Yeah. The crowds are woeful. They were famously maligned recently for only getting 10,000 for a Pokal match. And then I think the game against Hoffenheim later in the week, they only got like 17,000, 18,000, which is just not Bundesliga standard crowds. You can't really blame the crowds altogether because they've just not been seeing wins for too long, basically. You see what's happening at Hoffenheim now, and their crowds are skyrocketing because they're winning games at the end of the day, Fans do want to see teams win at least every now and again, and that's not what Wolfsburg have been doing for a long, long time now, before the Simonis days. So he's gone. Do you agree, Rory? Do you think it's a correct decision, and who do you think they're going to bring in next then, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's right to pull the trigger now. 10 games in, I think, is a pretty fair sample size. Well, Bundesliga games and then, 2 other Pokal matches, like you said. I think I, said on review shows and shows gone by already this season where I didn't understand what Wolfsburg were offering as a footballing team. And, players should take, a lot of the blame, but ultimately you can't sack 20-odd football players. It's always going to be the head coach. He falls on his sword. It didn't ever really look right. So in terms of what they're going to possibly bring in, we've heard few different names. I think kicker were reporting Urs Fischer as a name being linked. Could see him come back into Bundesliga football. Very, very safe pair of hands. Excellent, work that he did with Union Berlin. And then Marco Rosa is another name that was spun around. I think there was a couple of people exchanging messages. I think Ultam might have been mentioning that with someone else via conversation on X, which I picked up. That'll be an interesting one, project for Marco Rosa to work on. But yeah, I think, like you say, people want to see a successful team. Winning breeds confidence, brings sales, brings match ticket sales, and as a result, you might get some better attendances. So the VFL are in a bit of a dark hole right now. I'm not sure about where it ends in terms of the rest of the season. Can someone come in and completely turn their season around? I very much doubt it. Are they a team that are going to be in trouble to go down from a relegation point of view? They shouldn't be, but I think if the Simonis tenure carried on, then you never know. So probably hence why they've pulled the trigger now. But yeah, interesting to see. Obviously, if anyone has any particularly strong thoughts on that, let us know either live or subsequently. You'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on the Simonis sacking, especially any Wolfsburg fans out there. But anyway, we'll move on and start talking some footy that was actually played, because there was a lot of it, and there was a lot of good stuff as well. Some excellent games. We're going to start off with the one of the shocks from the weekend, which is the game played in Berlin. Union Berlin 2, Bayern Munich 2. A fantastic game here, Mark. The record meister, the record champions, seemingly unstoppable from a winning point of view, are halted for now, just before the November international break. Could well have been a loss, but they managed to pull it back late on to get a draw and not be as bad a result. But yeah, we were kind of hinting at this on Thursday. I think that Union Berlin just felt like one of those games away from home after a huge kind of European stage, massive game against PSG. It's like after the Lord Mayor show, isn't it? So did Bayern have the motivation and the levels to go against what will be a Stefan Baumgart in Atom all the time, Union Berlin side, motivated, it was exactly that. I think the warning signs were there from Union straight away, weren't they? With that early disallowed goal, which Bayern got away with, but eventually they did go behind to Aduki, his first goal of the game. Nicely worked corner, although I think it wasn't the best moment from Neuer in net. He had a bit of a weak game, I thought, although he's been quite good so far this season. But then, Mark, got to talk about that equaliser. That's doing the rounds all over social media. Luis Diaz take a bow. That was incredible.
Yeah, it really was a hell of a goal, wasn't it? Lucho Diaz, as they call him over here in Germany. Yeah, he kind of he looked as though the ball had gone, didn't he? And he completely skinned. It was Bundesliga stalwart and kind of cult hero Yannick Haberer, who was just completely done, basically. Yeah, I think it gave a slow motion and just showed his face, like what just happened there. He thought the ball was clear, and next thing you know, he's kind of hooked it round him on the floor, really, Then he gets up like lightning and just smashes a rocket straight past Renner, doesn't he? That's a hell of a goal. It really is. That's definitely going to be in the running for goal of the season. That one, I think, individual goal of the season. It was just a brilliant strike. But yeah, obviously Union continued to go. Like, you would have thought that they would have fallen apart after that. And I think Lucho Diaz did have one other great chance as well, didn't he, when he ran 1-on-1. But that was a bit weird because that was a much easier chance, wasn't it? And he just kind of like fell over, slipped and sliced it miles wide.
That was weird.
Quite ironic how football can go, really, isn't it? Like, he scores a wonder goal with nothing on, really, and then he slid through on goal. I think it was by Harry again, wasn't it? It was Harry who put him through.
Lovely pass.
Yeah, he's just been so good at that this season, Harry Kane, like with these through balls as well. It's not only his number 9 play. But in that case, he missed. But obviously, Union kind of dusted themselves down second half, didn't they? And they got back into the game. They really did. I think they had a few other chances as well. But I think the big chance fell to Elise, really, for Bayern, who probably looked like he was in, but just put it too close to the near post. And Renner made a good save, didn't he? But then it was, once again, it was Dookie, wasn't it? That man with his 4th league goal and 5th goal in all competitions this season. And it was just a free kick, which was actually probably the only bad thing Harry Kane's done in a Bayern Munich shirt, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
He basically headed it straight at Dookie, who, you know, he is a hell of a player in the 6-yard box, isn't he? He adjusted his body well and kind of scuffed a shot. Sometimes those scruffy ones are the best strikes because it just, nobody kind of knows where it's going, and it just bundled its way in, really, didn't it? Initially, I was watching on the conference, the German commentary, and they thought maybe it could get chalked off for a potential handball, but it didn't touch his hand, and it was in, and the celebrations were huge at that point at the Stadion an der Alte Försterei. It looked as though they got the win, didn't it, against Bayern? And it would have been a deserved win. I think they had the better tactical system. I think they played better overall. And as you say, the goal disallowed from Hamza was brutally tight as well. It was literally half millimeters, that one. Really, it really was. So they could easily have had 3 goals from set plays in the match.
Yeah.
But as it's been pretty much since he joined 2.5 years ago, the English, the King of England, stepped up once again and smashed a header beyond Renner. Yeah. Renner was unlucky not to save it, actually. I mean, it wasn't.
He did well.
He got a big hand on it, and it just kind of clipped the underside of the bar for the 2-2 to preserve Bayern's unbeaten record for the season. But you could see that Bayern didn't really take much joy in the fact that they'd lost that winning streak at the end. Obviously, it ended on 16 games. I think piles of credit should be given to Union Berlin and Steffen Baumgart. I just thought they were superb in the game. And that's what basically a lot more teams in the Bundesliga have to do against this Bayern side. They just roughed them up, basically. It was as simple as that. Long balls, heavy, like, just literally everything went into the box, everything went into the box, and it got them 2, and it could have been 3 goals because, I mean, that Anza one, as I said, was brutally ruled offside when it shouldn't have been in my eyes. But yeah, massive credit to them. The system worked brilliantly from Union, I have to say. I think, and overall, Steffen Baumgart's done really well there this season as well, I've got to say. I think the wide midfield, I mean, they pretty much packed it with kind of defensive, tough tackling midfielders. They had Rani Khedira out there, Alosha Kemline, also Andreas Schäfer and Yannick Haberer too. So basically it was a very, very tough tackling midfield. I think Querfeld had a good game as well in defence. He was rock solid too.
Yeah, they all played well.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Union for the performance. I was gutted, really. I was gutted at the 93rd minute leveler. It was a sickener for them. It looked as though they got over the line, but they could still take a hell of a lot of credit. They've ended that Bayern run, which there were people in Germany talking that they were going to win every game this season. Really, that's what people were thinking. They were that much better than the league, but Union have proved that they are beatable, even if they didn't quite get over the line. They were that close. But massive credit to Baumgart, massive credit to Union, and you've got to say credit to Bayern as well in what was a very good advert for the Bundesliga into this game.
It was like Union using their superpower to just show some small flaws or cracks in that Bayern backline. Like I say, I don't think Neuer had his best game. I think he's been good this season, Neuer, but I don't think he had the best game. And in previous seasons that we've been doing it, like obviously when Leverkusen won the title a couple of seasons ago, and even last season when Bayern won it back, we were like, oh well, there's still problems with their defense. We've not really mentioned that this season. That's the first time that they've looked vulnerable-ish from that kind of set piece sort of play. And like you say, if teams cotton on to that, which they should do, it might be something to watch in the next couple of weeks once we're back, obviously playing and seeing how Vincent Kompany maybe addresses that. But yeah, great game, as you say, and a good advert for the league. So yeah, we'll move on and talk now about the Rhine Derby that happened on Saturday evening, the Topspiel. I think, like we said on Thursday, this deserves to be the Topspiel. Such a historic match, obviously a great occasion for everyone to enjoy. The first one back for a couple of years since obviously Koeln had been in the Zweite. And yeah, this was a great occasion for the Fohlen. Gladbach getting the win over their bitter rivals in what has been a real week or two of feel good news overall, Mark. If we're talking about results on the pitch, but also off the pitch, with the news on Thursday that club captain Tim Kleindienst had extended his contract and deal to stay with the club until 2029. That's great news for them, obviously, in terms of the longevity of him being with them and that kind of pickup. Also, the good news that he's back on the training pitch as well. He's not too far off. So obviously post international break, we should see Kleindienst start to be phased back in, off the back now of a bit of good form, because it's obviously 2 wins in a row in the league, but 3 in all competitions. But yeah, if we're talking about the game as a whole, this was a pretty this was a game that kind of, it hit the expectations in terms of it was a really exciting game. But there was a lot of talking points in this, and we have to sadly again talk about VAR. I think we'll kind of come back to we'll talk about the game itself and what we thought of it, and then I want to come back to it, the VAR stuff, because it's hard not to in such a big game, and the consequences that it ultimately had. But yeah, the first half, like any derby, it was a bit tetchy. It was a bit trying for both sides to get through. I think Bulta had a good chance in the area to make it 1-0, but as well saved by Niklas. Then I think the next obviously big moment is the first penalty, the first of 3. Frankie Honorat, who'd not been in the game hugely in the first half, but Gladbach were looking to use him a lot, and that's obviously for obvious reasons. He gets tripped, tackled by Lund in the area, and obviously after a VAR check, Dennis Eitiken, who was refereeing this match, and again we'll come back to referees. He gives a penalty, and up steps Tabakovic, the man of the moment, seemingly, and he had his penalty saved by Schweber. Good save down to his right. But Gladbach reacted well, and from the following corner, a bit of a goalmouth scramble, and Sander smashed it home on the half volley for 1-0. And that was the half. Then into the carnage of the second half. Really lots to talk about here, Mark. Again, the big first moment in this is a second penalty for the home side. After a handball is given. Again, I don't want to focus too much on the decisions just yet. We'll come back to that 100%. And again, it's on Lund, so he didn't have his best day, poor old Lund. And so it's given after a check, and this time it's Kevin Dix, who was surprisingly not on the penalty initially, first one, but he put his away 2-0, puts the home side in control, and that only gets enforced by a really nice third goal, actually, Mark, a counter play, which is set up really, really well by Honorat. I just want to give him credit because we gave a lot of credit to Bakovic last week for his all-round performance, but I thought Honorat was really, really good in this one. And again, that the assist that he gives to Bakovic, just want to highlight the importance of how perfectly he plays that pass, because Tabakovic doesn't have to break stride. He literally can walk onto that perfectly, run onto it perfectly, and score the tap in and ultimately the goal killing game. It was a fabulous moment for the home side. They're in delirium. This was a game set up as a Gladbach being underdogs in a weird sense from a league perspective at least. So how did you see the game? Any standout players, and obviously you can kind of walk us through the rest of the happenings of the Koeln kind of half comeback. Then we can talk a bit of VAR.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we only 3-0 down. I think by that point it was 75 minutes on the clock. I think we all knew that it was game over, really. But Koeln did mount something of a kind of, comeback, you could say, but not really in truth. And it looked as though Waldschmidt had scored an absolute screamer of a consolation. But I think that just about summed up Koeln's day, didn't it? The fact that Ragnar Ake was in an offside position in the build-up as well. And I think he was just like, this is just not our day. And sometimes that happens in football. And I think it was one of those days for Koeln. But in the end, I think actually the softest penalty of the three was given, actually. And I think, to be honest, I think Denise attacking my Nuremberg brethren as well. I think he just thought, come on, let's give these poor guys something there, basically. Because, I mean, there was absolutely nothing in that one. It was just the ball came in, basically. And then it was just like a kind of, for me, nothing in it at all. I think he went down and Aitaken just gives a penalty. I don't even think he checks the VAR, because I think it's one of them where you've had three big decisions have gone against you, and I think they did deserve at least the consolation there. And Waldschmidt probably only gave the penalty to Waldschmidt because he'd had that screamer disallowed, basically, and he comfortably made it 3-1 to give the away FC fans a little bit of something to celebrate. But it was Gladbach's day, as you say. It was Eugene Polanski, obviously, who has managed to mastermind 3 straight wins in all competitions, as well as 2 very impressive wins in the Bundesliga as well, scoring 7 goals against Pauli and Koeln, respectively. Before, I think on Thursday night, Rory, we said, Gladbach back? For me, we can now safely say, yes, they are. I think this was the game where they really showed themselves at the back. Not because they played as well. For me, they didn't play as well as they did against Pauli, but it was just the fight that they showed. After missing that penalty, I think a month ago, they would have let the heads drop and they potentially even lose the game, Yeah. And then to still go and score that goal from a scrappy opener from Sander was just huge, basically. It really was. I mean, for me, that's probably what won them the game in the end, really. I think if they go in at 0-0, all of a sudden it's like, oh God, we've missed a penalty. It's the same old kind of thing. But to go and get that goal, to send the fans in happy after all that was just huge. And it wasn't really a surprise to see them kind of kill the game in the first 20 minutes of that second half, really. Big performance from Gladbach. I think you asked about standout performers. I would say Honorat has to be given it, really, there. I think he wins the first penalty after being quiet in the first half. And then in the second half, he was just a class apart, really, as you say, with that ball through the defence. That was a beauty, that was. And Tabakovic isn't going to get an easier goal all season, is he? And obviously it sent him home happy as well. After he would have been a bit cut up over missing the penalty after good form in recent weeks, but obviously he got his goal anyway. it's all positive signs for Gladbach, really. I think the midfield is working better. I think the return of Florian Neuhaus, he deserves a bit of credit as well. He'd obviously been out of the picture for a long, long time, but he came in, I think, the beginning of October kind of time. He was initially played further forward as like a kind of almost striker, but he's dropped back to a more natural position now, and I think he had a good game in this one. I still don't think we're seeing the best out of Rocco Wright yet this season. He's still got a lot more to deliver for me this season.
I think he was pretty good though in this, like as captain as well, wasn't he? For such a young man.
I think in terms of his obviously he kind of bigged them up and everything, but I didn't think it was like a standout performance as such on the pitch. But yeah, I think also the back line is looking a bit more steady as well. Obviously, Dix is now starting to show why he was so highly rated in the summer. Obviously, we've seen as quite a bit of a coup, really, for Gladbach to get him. He's been pretty good in recent weeks. He really has, and stepped up well for that penalty. As for Koeln, I think it was just a case of just one of those days, really, for them. You know, a couple of soft-ish penalties went against them, but I think at the end of the day, they were both penalties, really. You know, I think there was enough there in both of them. At first, I thought the handball one, the second one, was a joke of a decision. But when I rewatched it, one of the angles showed he did move his hand towards the ball. I think it was one of those instinctive ones, and it did potentially stop the ball from going to a Gladbach player. So you've kind of got to give it ultimately. And the same with the first one. It's relatively light touch, but he loses his footing a little bit, and London just kind of trips him, doesn't he, in the end? What do you think? Do you think there were penalties? Or
this is where we're going to strongly disagree, I'm afraid. Yeah, so I mean, for context, yeah, I think out of the 3 penalties, the first one is the most penalty-like motion. I think Lund is a bit, clumsy in the box, and those are decisions that are given. I need to fact check this in terms of so a VAR check had to happen for Dennis Eitekin to give it. I don't have a problem with that in terms of VAR interfering there, because I think that was quite contentious. And I just want to bring up a comment from VFB Americana tuning in mentioning exactly what we're talking about. Is there any talk in the league to modify VAR? And I think this is perfectly aligned with what we're talking about. And I think this is what was discussed by both head coaches afterwards in their post-match reactions. We need to be really clear on why we have VAR and what it's used for, because in the final 2 instances of the 2 other penalties being given, the Lund handball and then the push by was it Dix that gave it away. I just don't get why there is any need to try and create a situation in such a big game that means so much to these 2 teams and make Dennis Eitekin look stupid because he's having to, question his thoughts on what are just natural football incidents. Like the handball, I feel is ridiculous in terms of the way that the ball is falling and it brushes his arm. I'm not going to say that it doesn't touch his arm, because it does. But that for me just feels like a natural reaction to the ball. The ball is just falling down to the ground. Maybe, obviously you've made your point, Mark, in terms of that you feel it might have taken the ball away from a Gladbach player. So then, a decision has to be made. But we're talking about why VAR is being used in football. It was supposed to be introduced to get rid of the howler, wasn't it? For goal line technology and offsides. We can't even do offsides, right? So why are we trying to do handballs? Why are we trying to do these pathetic little pushes in the box? So if you're giving the Kevin Dix penalty, you have to give a penalty every single time there is a slight nudge in the box. So there should have been 50 penalties by that law. I did not get that in the slightest. That felt to me like you said, oh, Koeln, Koeln are losing, so therefore we've seen something. We might as well just give them a goal because it looks better on us. But it makes them look even worse, to be frankly honest. So yeah, I feel really strongly about this. That is being used horribly in games, and yeah, they're my viewpoints. Like, again, people watching, please let us know your comments and thoughts about the state of VAR, how it was used in this game, because it's really interesting as well. But again, I don't want that to take away from the fact that Gladbach deserved the win. I thought they played a good game, in a match that meant a lot to both sides. I think there were some good performances. But there are some big moments that obviously led towards that happening as well. Any throwback to what I've said, Mark, in terms of the VAR usage and stuff like that?
I mean, to be honest, I think to an extent, I've just kind of got used to the new way that football's refereed, and in my eyes, it is a new way that football's refereed. I mean, you and I, Rory, were both old enough to remember the days when, like, you used to have loads of handballs in penalty areas, and it just wasn't given because it wasn't deliberate, basically, And I think everyone was kind of happy with that in a way, because do you want to see football matches won on like 1 millimeter offsides or like accidental handballs? For me, no. You want to see games won with a goal like that Diaz goal, for example.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see. I mean, you're seeing goals constantly disallowed for offside. I think one of the problems with VAR is that in open play, VAR benefits the defender, whereas I think in open play, I've lost my words now, basically. But basically, there are too many goals being disallowed for offside, and there are too many penalties being given because of VAR. It's as simple as that. And let's be honest, all football fans, we want to see beautiful goals scored in open play. We don't want to see all these penalties and stuff like that. I think there's too many penalties in football now and too many goals disallowed for offsides that are giving no advantage to the attacker, basically. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say before. I think in open play, the refereeing decisions benefit the defender too much, whereas with penalties and free kicks, I think they benefit attackers too much, basically. And I think so I think for me, clear the narrow offsides. Unless you see clear daylight between the players, give the goal every time. That Ilias Anza goal for Union, give it. There's no advantage for the defender there, for the attacker with that 0.5 millimeter. I mean, even then it's subjective, you know what I mean? But at the same time, stop giving these soft handballs. Like, I've always said, my solution to this problem is handball in the penalty area should be an indirect free kick, not a penalty. I've always said it for me. For me, stop handball penalties. It's as simple as that. I just hate them, basically. Because for me, I don't want to see football matches won just because of basically an attacker kicks the ball and it brushes his shoulder, basically. I just don't want to see it, It
would at least stop poor old defenders having to defend with their arms behind their backs, kind of like
exactly. And even then, it can still touch the hand from behind. You know what I mean? For me, that's what I would do. I think you said it, VFB Americana, on one of your recent pods. I think he said correctly, in my eyes, that it should only be used for absolutely clear decisions. And if they're having to look, it shouldn't be used in the first place, basically. If you need more than like 30 seconds to check a decision, it should never have been checked. It's as simple as that, because the idea of it, and I thought that was a great way of explaining it from VFB Americana. I think that's my exact opinion. That's how it should be, really. Only very, very, very clear. If he's a yard offside, give it offside. But if he's a millimeter offside, give the goal every time.
Indeed. Yes. wise words from Travis and the lads for sure. And left-footed, senior comment about HSV Dortmund. We will, we'll come back to that in a little while. But yes, let's move the narrative forward because don't want to waste our time on horrible VAR-ness. And talk about some great footy. Moving on. We'll go to Leverkusen and their hitting of Heidenheim for 6. Kind of again with the work self. Feel that this has also been coming. We kind of said that about Leipzig when they smashed Wolfsburg for 6 as well. Everyone was thinking this would be a home banker, and it was. Probably helped by the fact that Heidenheim, I think, probably defended the worst they've defended for quite a while. And it's a shame to see them drop off. But Leverkusen took full advantage of that. A couple goals of Paddy Schick, some nice finishes. Well, one nice finish. Obviously, either side of a Jonas Hoffmann goal. Great to see him back in the goals mark. He's done well under Hjulmand as well. Since Kasper Hjulmand has come in. Nice headed goal for him. The third goal very quickly, kills the game, and it's unfortunate bit of a mix-up between Ramage in net and I can't remember the defender. They clash together, don't they? And Paddy Schick makes sure he gets his second goal. Then after that, it's a really nice fourth goal from Poku. Guiding the ball home on the half volley for 4. And then after that, Mark, it was the Marza show and a player that we haven't talked about loads, but he's had a couple of good games now. And he was standout against some poor defending from Heidenheim. But just quickly on a couple of young, starlets for Leverkusen just starting to shine now.
Yeah, he got man of the match against Benfica in midweek, and he was probably man of the match in this game as well. He's actually been dropped a little bit deeper in the position as well, that could have helped him. I think initially he was being played as a right attacking midfielder, wasn't he? In that kind of what is now a trademark 3-4-2-1 situation, which has continued since Hjulmand came in. But I think dropping him back further into midfield, alongside Garcia really worked in this game. And I agree that the usage of Hoffmann, who really kind of went out of favour under Alonso, the back end, he's done well. He's a proper Bundesliga player, is Jonas Hoffmann, and I'm glad to see him starting to get more game time again. But that system worked really well for them. It really did. There was a lot of attacking players, which you would imagine against a much weaker opposition that they kind of fancied, putting a few goals past. But it worked really, really well. Obviously, the Leverkusen are always a better side with Paddy Schick in there leading that line. Let's be honest. It's no coincidence that they won in Benfica midweek with him playing, and then they produced probably the most convincing performance of the season in this game with him once again leading the line. He is just a goal scoring machine. He's done it over 4 or 5 years now at Leverkusen, hasn't he? And he's just keeps coming back from those injuries, and it never seems to have an impact on him, does it? Like, you see a lot of players, and when they get injuries, every time they come back a little bit worse. But with Schick, it never seems to be the case. He always seems to maintain his level, and it seems that way again here. But overall, they were very impressive. There were obviously Poku getting a rare goal as well. He was another one of those many kind of signings in the summer. I think Alex Garcia as well is starting to really become a Bundesliga player now. It took him a long time, but this season he's actually been one of their standout performers after what I felt was quite a weak initial season last year under Alonso. But this year he seems to have kind of found his feet. I think it's probably because he's one of the key men now as well, isn't he? Obviously, last year that position was very much Granit Xhaka's. Now he's kind of he's the mainstay in that midfield really now. He's kind of getting more game time than Andrich and the like, which is great to see, really.
Because Andrich's been dropped back to defence now, hasn't he? Which is
he has. Yeah, it's and it kind of works as well in some ways. Having a man who can kind of bring it out a little bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's great to see. I'm quite happy that they've done okay this season, considering the amount of upheaval. A lot of people, I mean, I myself tipped them to miss out on Europe altogether, but as things stand, they are in the Champions League positions. They're looking okay. And this was a very convincing performance. They put some hammerings past Heidenheim in recent years, and this was yet another one. As you say, I think for the FCH, it was a horrible performance. You saw Patrick Meinke just going absolutely insane after that 6th goal. He was just losing his mind, but I think for them, it's one of them, you've just got to get it out of your system. It's probably a good thing that they've got a 2-week break now, because it could have been a bit of fatigue. It's the same 11 out on the pitch every week for them, that the squad is just so small. Some of those defenders, they've basically played every game since they got into the league, effectively. Like, can you actually remember that Fehrenbach, Searsleben, Meinke and Traore defence being blown up at any point in the 2.5 years they've been in this league? I think they were showing some signs of fatigue, and none of them are young guys either. I think they're all well into the, maybe Traore is a bit younger, but the other ones are well into their late 20s or 30s, I think. So, yeah, it was a really, really rough run out for the FCH, but they've just got to get it out of the system. They're still in a decent position. There's quite a few teams struggling down there at the bottom. Mainz, Augsburg, Pauli just can't pick up results either. So they're still well in the race. Yeah, they've just got to forget this one. I think if you were Schmidt, you'd probably just say, forget this one, take a few days off, guys, and come back again and, late this week and prepare for the next match in 10 days or so. That's what I would do after this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think for them, shake it off. You've got, one of your better players in the shape of Pieringer that they're having to phase back in. So more time on the training pitch for him will help. And if he can have a bigger part to play, I know it wasn't about them scoring goals against Leverkusen. It was about, shipping goals. But, they're also missing Solord, Conte, also missing Kaufmann, who we gave a lot of praise during their good little run of results as well. Get those back, and they'll definitely pick up more results. But yeah, this young Leverkusen side, the likes of Polku, Marza, Kafane, Ben Shagir, and now Tillman as well, led by Paddy Schick, and a bit of experience with Jonas Hoffmann and Garcia. They have something there for sure to build on. Still not sure about Flecken and nets, but hey-ho, that's for another week. So we will move on and talk another game. And we'll talk about a very impressive win in Sinsheim for TSG Hoffenheim, beating RB Leipzig 3-1 in what was a game that was highly ramped up. Two teams in form, both going well, both high on confidence. Albeit Hoffenheim, we know, Mark, aren't fantastic at home. They've been exceptional on the road, but this was a real test for them, and they've come out on the other side of it looking really good. Although they did have to initially work their way back into this after another goal for man of the moment, Diomande. Lovely individual bit of skill to score and finish his chance at the near post to give Leipzig a lead. There had been a couple of chances either side of that. But then, Hoffenheim worked their way back in, first of all, through Hajdari. Nice bit of play. I think it was for Wouterberger to get the assist, getting the ball back across goal right at the far post for Hajdari to get a tap in. And then they score, Mark, another kind of classic Hoffenheim counter-attack, which they're getting really good at. Nicely finished off by Lemperle. I think now another assist for Kufal as well. He's done really well. And then into the second half, they saw it through after an early scare where Raum hit the post. But they were able to ride that wave and continue and get the third goal and finish off in was a really impressive home win, Mark. And they are a strong outfit this season. There's no doubt about that. They've done a lot right. They're now in 6th place, only a couple of points, 3 points off second place Leipzig now. So they're well in the race for Europe and top 4. So what were you impressed with in this one?
Yeah, there was a lot to be impressed with for both teams, really, in this one. This was a really, really good advert for the Bundesliga, even though this game does get kind of quite a lot of abuse in some ways in the Bundesliga. But I think it was a good advert. It really was. It was almost a full house as well. I think there were 27,000 out of 30,000, which is a really good attendance for this game. So credit. I think Hoffenheim fans deserve credit as well for the support this season as well, because it is massively improved. I can't ever remember Hoffenheim having so many fans consistently in stadiums this year, which is really good. I mean, that's credit to Christian Ilzer and what he's done at the club as well, because, I mean, he's really transformed them. And obviously with a lot of help from his backroom team as well, because, I mean, they had probably the best transfer window of the entire Bundesliga in summer. And he's managed to make it work out of it with his team. But, you know, they also had another goal through Asllani, which was, again, very narrowly disallowed for a millimetre offside in the build-up as well, I think, from Toure. And then also Romulo also got a goal disallowed at the back end to a 3-1. So it could have been probably deserved another couple of goals, really, this game. It was a very, very good match. As you say, I mean, Hoffenheim are just absolutely brilliant at the minute. They really are. I mean, the first goal was a very, very well-worked goal through, as you say, Würzburger was the kind of key man in it, really. Played that brilliant ball across. And then, Haidara was there to tap it in. There's very few things going wrong for them at the minute. I mean, even Asllani dropped out of the team for this one. He was given, I guess, a bit of a breather. But he came on and, as usual, did really well. Toure is just a gift that keeps giving, isn't he? He's just such a live wire. He's part of the reason why they're so good on the counter, because his pace is just ridiculous. It really is. Lemperle, I'm happy for him too, because he's a man that's mostly kind of traded as a Zweite player, really, for Greuther Fürth, my rivals over in Fürth, and also Koeln as well, let's not forget. But he's got his big break in the Bundesliga, and he's absolutely making the most of it. He looks a very good forward. Doesn't matter whether he's alongside Asllani or Toure, and he's managing to provide quality at the moment. I think a lot of credit deserves from the midfield. The reborn Grisha Prömel as well, who had a bit of a quiet season last year. He's been brilliant this season, and he's getting goals again like he always used to at Union in his early days at Hoffenheim. I think Avdallah, who is also a fantastic player, he allows them to transition so quickly. He's the one that's winning that ball back in the midfield. He's been a real good find as well. I think he signed from Basel, didn't he, in the end? He's been a brilliant acquisition. Bernardo, even though he was kind of like, you know, done by Diamande for the first goal, he's added so much solidity to that defense. And Kufal, I mean, what can you say about him, really? I mean, he's probably, if the season ends tomorrow, he's not far from the team of the season at right back this year. He's been that good. What is it? 3 goals and 4 assists plus defensive quality as well.
I think 6 or 7 goal involvement so far. I think
crazy numbers, really. You know, and it really has been good. I mean, I think they signed him on a free as well, didn't they? I mean, he'd been a good servant for West Ham for a number. I know he was very well thought of by West Ham, but he was kind of seen as being a bit past his heyday, really. But he's had a kind of Indian summer of his career, hasn't he, at Hoffenheim? And everything's going right for them. It really is. This was a marquee performance. It's the first time they've turned over a kind of top 4 rival this season, and they did it in style, really. And you're starting to wonder who can stop Hoffenheim at the moment, really. They're winning games at home, away from home. They're probably, after Bayern, the best team in the league on the road, really. And they've just got so many players playing at the top of the powers. They've got a bench full of quality. You know, and just in this game alone, there was, Asllani, Damar, let's not forget him, Damar as well. I even forgot they still had Kabak, to be honest with you, but he was, he came off the bench as well, which is probably maybe not the best thing after he wasn't the best for Hoffenheim, let's be honest. But yeah, everything going right for the TSG at the moment. RBL weren't bad in the game either. I thought both teams played well. They played embarrassing in losing this game. They had chances, but Hoffenheim were just better, and they got the big moments in this one, really.
Indeed, they did. So a big win for Hoffenheim. Ironically, that Ilz's first game was that crazy 4-3 win against Leipzig last season, wasn't it?
Yeah. True.
So he's obviously enjoying his matchups in that sense. Lovely stuff. So we'll move on. Last game we're going to focus on just briefly is going to be the Stuttgart Augsburg match, the Rory versus Mark matchup from a Bundesliga sense at least. VfB get over the line 3-2 in a really entertaining game, especially the first half. Again, some interesting, certainly one interesting call from VAR as well here. Things to pick out. I mean, if you want more of an in-depth, detailed run through of this, I know the VfB Americana lads will be, going through it with the fine-tooth comb and talking about the weaknesses that we've seen, Mark, from VfB defensively. Still very much on show here for both of Augsburg's goals. Fabian Rieder coming back to haunt the home side early on after the defence was done quite easily. Then the first two equalisers came through Maxi Mittelstadt from the penalty spot. This time Zagadou was felled in the area, grabbed around the neck. So I thought that was probably fair, although I might be biased. You can let me that one.
Yeah, I think I was thinking a little bit different on that
football
one,
from Stuttgart after that. Fair enough. Nubel and Karasor combining to let Masenko come in and steal a goal for 2-1. Then a nice equaliser for Undav, some good play by Stiller to keep the ball active. And despite the great efforts of Finn Darman in nets, the ball crossed the line for 2-2. Great chances for both sides. I think Ascend, they had a good chance in the second half before Undav gets the winner. Nicely teed up by Stiller after some good play by Furyk, who came on as a sub and did quite well in the second half and picked his spot for 3-2. And that was the VfB getting over the line. Could have maybe made it 4-2 late on. Very briefly, Mark, obviously looking at time, we need to move things on a little bit, but were you impressed by the FCA? Sandro Wagner again, very animated on the sidelines. Is that getting a bit boring for you now in terms of his overreactions, do we call it? Or what did you think? Did you think that Augsburg maybe deserved something, or did you feel that VfB were just about there for the win?
Yeah, I'm still very worried about Sandro in general. It's just we talk about it quite a lot, Rory. A manager's supposed to be a rock on the touchline, and basically Wagner is the absolute antithesis of a rock. Like when he scored that first goal, did you see his reaction? He looked up to the sky and went like that. I mean, that's not really giving you much hope, is it? Let's be honest. And he's way too emotional at this stage, and someone needs to put an arm on his shoulder and just say, Sandro, calm down. I know he is a charismatic guy and stuff, but you're the rock for your team, you know what I mean? And when your players see you doing that, what do you read into that? It's almost like, thank God you've finally given me a goal or what? I'm sure a lot of managers are thinking that after a bad run, but you don't show that kind of emotion on the touchline. You just can't do it. And then obviously the theatrics when the penalty was given, for me, again, obviously as an Augsburg sympathiser, I was disappointed to see that given. I thought it was like a kind of 50-50 one a little bit, to be honest.
I get it. Yeah. And
I can understand why he's upset about it, but I mean, he's just absolutely worked up to fever pitch every game, and if you're a player seeing that, you're just going to think this energy transforms to your team. You know what I mean? And I think this is part of the problem with the FCA at the minute. I think they played well in the game. It was a good game overall. I think, they capitalized well on the error. I mean, would you say it was more Nubel or Karatsor's error? Probably Nubel, really.
Probably Nubel, yeah.
Suicide ball, as you say, And then obviously Karatsor tried to go down to win the free kick, but it wasn't happening. And Masengo comfortably tucked home for 2-1. I mean, for me, the big moment in this one is Asende. When he goes through, he's got to be scoring there under pressure. This is the problem with Asende that frustrates, managers and fans alike, because he is probably the best striker that Augsburg have got. But like often when he gets those big chances recently, he's just been missing them. And that was disappointing, because if they score that, then they're going to go away with at least a point. Like they might not even be able to get the 3 from that position. I think that was 76 minutes or so that happened, and then 4 minutes later they were behind, and that was the clincher, really. I think credit deserves for Stuttgart too, because they've been overran with fixtures at the minute. They've had a difficult game against a kind of Dutch team, which is always a big fight, German versus Dutch teams. It's a little bit like the equivalent of English versus Scottish, I guess, in some ways. And it's more like, and they got the win there, and then to come back when they went 2-1 down, you were thinking maybe it's just going to be one of those days for the VfB. They looked leggy at that point. They were very poor for the first half hour, truth be told, but they did grow into the game. Chris Führig probably deserves a lot of credit too. He was really good after coming off. He was the key in the winner, really, wasn't he, with that dribble? Credit to the VfB. I mean, they're still having a really good season, to be honest. They've got 7 wins out of 10 games. They've got 2 out of 4 in the Europa League. They're very strong at home. I mean, have they won every home game this season?
Yeah, won every home game. Yeah.
I mean, they've turned the stadium into an absolute fortress. I wouldn't say they're playing like absolutely very consistent football, but I always feel when you're playing Thursday, Sunday, they're doing what they can, and it's enough at the moment. They're winning a lot of games. They're still in the Pokal. Who would back against them really qualifying for the Champions League again? So I think they're really managing it well. From the way I see it as an outsider looking in, I would be quite proud with what the team is producing at the minute. They're certainly doing a lot better than the FCA. Credit to Stuttgart. They've dug deep for that win, and it's 7 wins out of 10, 21 points from 10 games is very, very good going at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. I think well summarized there. Just quickly from VfB Americana. Mark, you highlighted Führig there. I thought Daxo did a pretty good job. I only watched like the first 50, 60 minutes, and then I was on feeding duty with little man. So I missed the last half hour live, but I caught up subsequently. But I liked what he did mainly, although I still have my questions. With VfB defensively. Moving on then, we'll fly through these last games and finish up in a few minutes or so. Going back to the comment from Left-Footed, which was the Haas-Val Dortmund game, another great fixture, very traditional match. And Haas-Val really turned up and gave Dortmund a great game. BVB got themselves ahead pretty late on in the match with a scruffy but decently taken volley by Chukwuemeka to give Dortmund a lead, which he thought would be enough to get them over the line. However, it was not. It was a late bit of drama for Haas-Val in a highly excellent atmosphere in the stadium. I thought it was really great, and great moment for Königsdörfer. Getting the header from a really nice cross from Muheim to get it back to 1-1. Really good result for Haas-Val again. Dortmund, just always happens as soon as Bayern drop points. So do Leipzig, so do Dortmund. It's just the way that things work these days, isn't it? Quite a shocking result in the sense that Dortmund have been going pretty well in the league. Haas-Val have really showed up recently, so that was a great point for them. Moving on to the Bremen-Wolfsburg match, which we've obviously kind of covered in the sense of Simonis's sacking mark, late drama. After Wolfsburg went ahead through Svanberg, a nice goal there. Steg with the equaliser, and then a fine finish by new signing, or new this season at least. Mbangula after a quite interesting. A few people were laughing about the fact that Boniface might have got an assist for his.
Yeah, he did. They actually registered that as an assist. That was my takeaway from that match, because that was a really funny moment. I think if you wanted a moment that summed up Boniface's time as a Werder Bremen player, it was that, really, that overhead kick, which didn't even reach the goal. And then literally Mbangula smashed it in on the volley, didn't he? Which was another. There were quite a few really good goals this weekend, and that was one of them. That was a hell of a strike from Mbangula, who, by the way, also started on the bench. Like, I do question Horst Steffen's lineups at times, but he is getting results at the end of the day. I mean, he's become the master of the substitution, hasn't he? And I think it's almost becoming like a tactic, really, in a way, to bring on his bigger hitters in the last 30 minutes or so. And I think that's the fourth game, or at least the third, where they've got a winner in the last 10 minutes this season. So, and also they got a late leveler last week against Mainz too. So they've become the team of the last 10 minutes this season, haven't they? The SVA.
Indeed. So yeah, that was obviously the result that broke the VFL resolve, and therefore we've talked about the Simonis sacking. Elsewhere, I say a needed win for Freiburg, their first win in 6, which I was actually shocked to see. But Freiburg are really good at home, 2 wins, 2 draws. Too good for Pauli in the end. The goal for Suzuki, he had a good game, and Eggestein, although both profiting for some more mistakes from Vasil. Mark, what's going on from our really consistent FCS SP man? A couple of moments where he could have done better. Clearing the ball and saving it, which is
strange, isn't it, really? Because I always said with Pauli, I mean, for me, he was the main reason why they stayed up last season. He was just a complete machine. And I would say for the first 6-7 games this season, he was as well. But I think it was actually Peter and I, when we were at Frankfurt, that was like his first mistake, I think, of his career, basically. And I can't really remember him ever making any errors other than that. And since then, he made a howler last week against Gladbach, and now he's made kind of 2 errors. I mean, I wouldn't say these errors were quite as bad as the ones he did against Gladbach or Frankfurt, but they were half errors, I would say. Yeah. They were half errors, I would say.
They were indeed.
But it's concerning for them. I mean, it's 7 defeats in a row for them, incredibly, now in the Bundesliga, which is just... After, it seems a long time ago in the summer of obviously August, when we were praising them to the high heavens, Rory, weren't we? I mean, now they look very much like relegation fodder. They really do. I mean, they just can't get they can barely get a goal, let alone a point at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, Oppi's goal is also a bit of poor play from Freiburg defensively. Twice, I think they made errors leading to that consolation goal in the end. And then, the last game of the weekend was a late winner for Frankfurt. A decent game all in all, but Mainz still struggling. Their XG at the end of this game was 0.14, just showing their struggles really. And the game won by a great bit of quality by Ritsu Doan. Nice bit of dribbling to smash home his finish. For 1-0 and get the Eagles a needed win as well, and kind of confirming their intentions for top 4, top 5 European football. So that was everything. Just quickly want to pick up a comment from Sard, evening goal of the weekend for you, Luis Diaz, and by far some great goals there, like you said, Mark, this weekend. But Luis, Lucho Diaz, tops it by a strong way. Also just noticed after 10 games from VfB Americana, any changes to your top 4 and bottom 3? I can't even remember who I said was top 4 or top 3. So I'd say right now, Heidenheim still for me. I
think we went with Heidenheim and Pauli and Union as our bottom 3, actually. But I think Heidenheim and Pauli is looking lightly at the minute, I'm afraid. But Union, I don't think will be anywhere near filtering into the bottom 3, to be honest.
No, that relegation playoff spot, I feel, is completely open because Gladbach have improved. Mainz surely have got something more than what they're showing in the league.
Should come good, Mainz, but they often have seasons like this, don't they, Mainz, where they just don't get going, and they've not been bad as such. I mean, every game has just been like individual goal defeats, hasn't it? But I think the issue with Mainz is they're just not scoring goals right now at all. That's a worry for them, and obviously Augsburg have got worries too, but they should also have enough quality in the squad, but it's just whether they can basically get rid of Wagner quickly enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Top four is anyone's guess. I think is really open. Well, the top three when you exclude Bayern. There's a lot of teams that are of a similar level. Leipzig, Stuttgart, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Frankfurt, and Hoffenheim. It's hard to separate them right now. So I think that'll be a really good race for the rest of the season to watch. So yeah, I think we'll keep an eye on that as time goes along. Very quickly, just to finish, Saad saying got a chance to attend a Mainz game against Hoffenheim next week. Would you guys recommend? Mark, would you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, at Mainz, it should be a good atmosphere at Mainz. Yeah, for sure. I think Peter's Rhineland-Pfalz brothers. Yeah, I think definitely I would recommend going over there. Yeah, I think, and it should be a good game too. I mean, you'd be watching one of the Bundesliga's most impressive teams right now in Hoffenheim. So yeah, definitely get yourself over there. It's always a good experience to watch any German football game live.
Indeed, it is. Perfect stuff. Enjoyable show tonight. Thank you all for tuning in with us and having input. It's been great to go through match week 10 of the Bundesliga as we go into the international break now. So a bit of rest for Mark and myself. Although, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for maybe a vlog or two during that downtime. So yeah, Mark, you can close us up for tonight.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget that we are not only a YouTube channel, we are also a podcast as well. So check out Spotify and Apple on that. And also don't forget to find us on social media as well. We post all our kind of shows, all our live matches attended, vlogs. We will still have another couple of vlogs coming for you as well over the international break. We'll get the rest of them released as well. The next one will be on Wednesday evening, so check out for that, which will be an interesting one, I'm sure. So thanks a lot again, guys, for checking in, and we'll see you again in 10 days or so for the kind of countdown to Christmas, really, won't it? So yeah, see you then, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers all.